Hello, it's Carlos Anthony. Welcome to Almost Mexican, and today we are making one of my favorites, Mexican street corn. Something I know you're gonna love. Me and my fiance eat this all the time. It's delicious. All right, let's jump right into this thing. First thing you're gonna need for your Mexican street corn is a real hot saute pan. You wanna see a little bit of smoke coming off of it? Get a nice high smoke point cooking oil. Any good street corn, you want to get a little bit of caramelization. That is going to equal flavor. What I always like to see is let that oil dance a little bit. You're going to see a little bit of smoke. You're going to see the oil kind of shake. Okay, to start off this street corn, we're going to take onions and garlic. I've chopped 1 whole onion and 4 cloves of garlic, and I'm going to throw that right into our hot saute pan. That's what you want to hear. You want to hear it, okay? You guys want to make some sound. You want to hear it kind of cooking. Get that moving around, moving and shaking. Good Mexican street corn is very simple. A lot of times growing up, I would travel to Mexico with my grandparents, and we would eat this all the time, whether it's on the cob or in the cup full of mayo. It's so delicious. To be honest with you, this is actually my fiance Allison's favorite dish to make. She claims she makes it a lot better than I do. I'm gonna let you know she's from Minnesota, so there's not a chance that is true. But she does make it a delicious corn, and if she can do it, you at home can do it too, I promise. So we're gonna let those onions and garlic sweat, right? You wanna let that onion become almost translucent. Now we're not gonna overly caramelize this, but you do want them to become cooked through. While that's working, we're gonna take some cilantro and we're gonna chop that up. The stems are very good for you, but you don't want too much of them. They get a little bit woody. I'm gonna take a little bit, set some aside for your garnish. Always thinking about a pretty garnish. And you're gonna roll this up. Our onions are cooking beautifully. What I'm doing is I'm chiffonading this cilantro. A lot of times the little cilantro tries to roll away from you. What you wanna do is roll it tight into a bundle and then just cut it real thin. Done. We'll set that aside. That's gonna be my last element. What you see here is I've set myself up for success, okay? In the kitchen, we call this mise en place, all right? It's a wonderful way to cook because all of your things are ready. Now, if I was sitting here cutting onions or cutting my jalapenos or juicing limes, I wouldn't have any time to talk to you. Wouldn't have any time to, chat about why I love corn so much. Also, you'd be struggling to cook these things properly. When you're cooking corn, you really want to layer these ingredients on top of each other. You're layering flavor. All right, we got a good look at that. Look at those onions are starting to become translucent. You see it there at home, right? There's no color, but they're nice and almost see-through. Once you see that, take some jalapenos. I've chopped up 2 jalapenos, minced them real good. Seeds and all, okay? Maybe not all those seeds. Ooh. Okay, you want this to be spicy. If you're using a jalapeno, use it, okay? Don't take those seeds away. Man, the smell of this already is incredible. It's amazing. We're getting things together. All right, let's talk corn. Listen, you can come at me for not using fresh corn. This is frozen corn. And ladies and gentlemen, I am almost Mexican. All right, when I was growing up, corn wasn't always in season. All right, you weren't using that beautiful Mexican white corn all the time. Grandma was taking bags of frozen corn, and I'm here to tell you that is okay. It's sweet, it's delicious, and most of all, it's easy. Once we see those jalapenos have started to sweat a little bit, started to cook, you can add your corn. Mexicans out there, do not come at me for this yellow corn, okay? Sure, you can make this with beautiful white corn, but it is so good with a sweet yellow corn, okay? This is why I'm a Mexican American, all right? We use a little bit of this, a little bit of that, some from here, some from there. All you're trying to do now is heat this through, okay? We got a lot of flavor building, onions, garlic, jalapenos, corn, and now get a good amount of salt in there. Good amount of salt. Okay? And we're gonna let that cook. All right, friends, say it's summertime and there's beautiful corn cobs that you have and you want to use them. It's a great way to use it, okay? You can grill that corn off. You can quickly just cut the kernels right off of the cob and dump them in there, and it's going to be just as good. Okay, once you've got that corn kind of cooked through, it's starting to steam up, really starting to come together. What we're going to do now, once it's piping hot, is we're going to take the juice of 2 limes and we're going to go right in. Okay, that acidity is really going to cut through some of that heat. Another thing I love to add to my street corn, whether it's on top or in, is tahini. Tahini is a delicious chili condiment, typically made with paprika. Let's just read it. Chili peppers, sea salt, citric acid. So simple. If you don't have tahini, you can recreate this at home just with chili powder, salt. If you don't have citric acid, don't worry. Add some more lime juice. It's not essential. It's just a really delicious part of it, okay? And I'm gonna season it similarly to if it was salt. Add a little bit of flavor right to my corn. Okay, probably about a tablespoon. You're gonna put more on it, so don't overdo it right here in the seasoning. Everything's looking good. The key to making a good street corn is layering these flavors. Now, if I'd have just put everything together all at once, it's not gonna cook evenly, it's not gonna be the same, and you're gonna have a really dulled out. Now, what you have to understand is that corn, whether it's fresh or frozen, is gonna leach out a lot of water. So if I didn't have to spend time to cook those onions and garlic, they would have never cooked. Okay, so I've got my corn, it's seasoned, it's hot, it's looking good. Next, I'm going to take it off the heat, all right? You heard correctly. Take it off the heat. This is a crucial step, often forgotten, but a very important step, okay? If I try to continue to put this on the heat and I add my next ingredient, it'll, what we call in the professional chef world, it will break. Meaning the fat and the oil in here are going to separate because they get too hot. So what I'm gonna do is take it off the heat, and once it's not necessarily cooled down, but it doesn't have that aggressive heat, I'm gonna add the mayo. This is about 1.5 cups of mayo. Whatever mayo you got in your fridge, throw it in there. This is gonna be creamy and delicious. Oh my gosh, that looks so good. We're gonna mix this all together, evenly incorporating that mayo. Look at how creamy, look at how delicious that already looks, and so simple. Now what we're gonna do is take some cotija. Cotija is a salty Mexican cheese, very crumbly, really flavorful. And we're gonna crumble that right in. It comes in a block, oftentimes a square. Do not be alarmed if it comes like that. All you're gonna do is just break it up with your fingers. A generous portion of cheese. There's really never enough cotija, in my opinion. Okay, boom. Flavor, baby, flavor. Oh. Okay, oh my gosh, look at that. Now, when I was growing up as a kid, we would go to like baseball games, after church, believe it or not, at the swap meet. You ever been to a swap meet? Swap meet's so fun. We eat it in a cup. You get a big corn cup full of this with cheese and herbs. It was so good. Oh, speaking of herbs, I got my cilantro here. I cut it so early. That's about 1 bunch of cilantro. Dump it in. Again, you don't want to add that cilantro too early. The heat is going to wilt it. Wow, I'm so excited to try this. Packed full of flavor and really brings me back to my childhood. Okay, let's get a taste here. Let's see how we're doing. Wow, so good. Oh my God. Oh my God, that's good. That's it. Okay, listen, you can add more salt, you can add more lime if you want to. I just happened to nail it on the first try. Wow, that's good. What we're gonna do now is just plate it up. This is so good for parties. You're trying to impress your friend at a potluck. Again, if you're at a baseball game, you wanna bring a couple of hot cups of this, your friends will be so happy, and they might also think you're almost Mexican. Never know. Might be lucky enough. Holy cow, absolutely delicious. Look at that. What I like to do is I like to finish it with a little bit more of that cotija right on top. Never have enough cheese, I promise you. Okay, let's do a couple of those little cilantro leaves that we saved. Wowzers, that looks good. And touch more tahini right on top. My friends, we just made the most delicious Mexican street corn. You're watching Almost Mexican. I'm Carlos Anthony. Thanks for joining along. Check out what we're making next week.